All right, so you're back because you want to get to the heart of things quickly, right? Well, today we are diving into something pretty incredible, generative AI, but it comes with a potential problem, a huge appetite for energy. We've got some really interesting data here looking at how fast this tech is growing, the kind of energy challenges it's creating, and we're going to figure out if AI's energy needs are going to totally overwhelm us by 2030 or if we can find some ways to make it sustainable.
Yeah, it's a real race, and the numbers are, well, they're pretty eye-opening. The AI market has just exploded. Think OpenAI, Google, Microsoft, their revenues jumped massively between 2020 and 2023. OpenAI by itself grabbed a 59% share of the entire generative AI market. And these AI tools, they're called APIs, they're big business. Companies are really banking on AI. They're projecting savings of like $80 billion every year just from AI-driven customer support systems, and that's by 2030.
Wow. Okay, so AI is a financial powerhouse, but what's the downside for everyday people like you and me?
Well, every single thing AI does, whether it's generating text or creating images, it uses electricity. And that's how we get to this AI energy consumption crisis. We're talking about energy demands that are doubling every 6 to 12 months.
That's a scary thought, double every year.
It is. Think about this. Training a model like GPT-3 consumed 12,287 megawatt hours. That's enough to power, let me see, 120 homes in the U.S. for a whole year.
Really? 120 homes for a year just to train one AI model.
Yeah, and get this, the newer models that are coming out are even more power hungry.
That's crazy. So how much is all this AI actually contributing to climate change?
Well, a single high-performance training run for one of these AIs, it can actually produce as much carbon dioxide as a transatlantic flight. And then you've got to think about the billions of times people are using these AIs every day, all those questions and answers. That's a lot of energy. All those global enterprise AI tools, the energy they use in a year is like having 250,000 electric vehicles on the road constantly.
Wow, that's a pretty shocking comparison. And it's not like this is happening in a vacuum, right? We've got electric vehicles, we've got crypto mining, and now AI, all competing for the same power. The stuff we've been looking at suggests AI could be using a tenth of all the world's electricity by 2030.
Yeah, that's right, 10%.
That sounds like a real strain on the grid, and it's going to affect everyone. Then there's the whole issue of rare earth materials needed to build the hardware and all the water we need to cool these massive data centers.
Exactly. It's a big challenge.
So what can we actually do about it? Is anyone trying to solve this problem?
Well, the good news is the big tech companies, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, they're all making pledges to go carbon neutral. They want to run everything on a renewable energy. But there's a hitch.
Oh, I bet there is. What is it?
Building all the infrastructure they need, upgrading the power grids, all that takes time. In the U.S., it can take 5 to 7 years just to get a renewable energy project up and running. And on top of that, reliable clean energy is not available everywhere in the world.
So we have this kind of a 2030 paradox, like the research calls it. AI might need more energy than we can produce cleanly by 2030. That's a real dilemma. But I've also seen some talk about technological breakthroughs that could offer solutions. What kind of things are being worked on?
There are some really promising advancements in hardware and in how AI models are designed. We're seeing these new energy-efficient chips like NVIDIA's H100 GPUs and Google's TPU v4. They can dramatically reduce the energy needed for every calculation, even by up to 50%.
Wow, that's a huge improvement.
It is. And there's this whole other field called neuromorphic computing. It's actually inspired by the human brain, and it has the potential to be incredibly efficient. On the software side, we're seeing techniques like sparsity, which basically helps AI models be more selective about the data they process, and knowledge distillation, which creates these smaller, more focused models.
So we're making AIs that are both smarter and more energy efficient.
Exactly. We're also looking at distributing the AI workload more. Things like federated learning and edge computing, they can take some of the pressure off those big central data centers.
Okay, so smarter chips and leaner models, that's definitely progress. And then there's quantum computing, which still feels like something out of science fiction. How could that play a role in solving AI's energy problem?
This is where things get really interesting. Quantum computers, they use these things called qubits, and they can handle certain super complex calculations using way less energy than even the most powerful regular computers. Google has this new Willow chip with 105 qubits. It's a big deal.
So quantum computers are basically way more efficient.
Much more. Researchers at Cornell University, they've even come up with a quantum approach that could cut data center energy use by 12.5% and carbon emissions by almost 10%.
Wow, that's incredible.
There are even companies like Multiverse Computing. They're building software specifically to reduce how much energy those big AI models need.
That's amazing. But from what I've read, quantum computing is still in its early stages, right? It's not exactly something you can buy at Best Buy.
That's true. It needs specialized equipment, and it's not widely available or affordable yet.
So how do we bridge that gap?
Collaboration is key. No one can solve this alone. Governments, tech companies, and energy providers need to work together. We need to invest in renewable energy infrastructure, modernize our power grids, create incentives for developing green AI, and we need global standards and sustainable policies.
So as we get closer to 2030, it really does feel like a pivotal moment for AI. The potential is enormous, but we've got to figure out this energy problem. It sounds like the solutions are out there: quantum computing, innovative hardware, collaboration, but we need to act decisively.
That's exactly right. If you think about the big picture, the question is, can we ensure that AI evolves into a force for good, that it works with our planet's resources instead of depleting them? It's something to really consider as we move forward.